Right, hi everybody. Hopefully this is going to be live. As usual, I'm struggling to find the best possible angle for you to see, so I've set it up, but hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing. Right, today we are making gnocchi, which is a kind of a pasta for those who don't know. If you want to join us, you would need to have prepared beforehand. You would need 4 big potatoes, which you can either boil or bake. I'll explain more in a minute. In fact, let me show you what I've got here. Good, let's turn around. Okay, so we've got, my potatoes were this size. This one looks like a hand grenade. And I baked them in the oven last night when I was making other food. I choose to bake them because I thought that they would be less watery. You could just boil them with the skins on. It doesn't really matter. So if you've got big potatoes, I would say you need 4 big potatoes. But these ones weren't so big. Let me show you what they look like in their native state. So that was the size of the potato. So not a huge potato. So I actually did 6 in the end. Oh, and my sister Penny is watching. Hi, Penny. Right, you need some sage. And this just has the most delicious smell. I wish I could give you smellogram. You need 1 egg, 1.5 cups of flour, a little bit of salt, pepper. I've got some parmesan here to serve it with, and I've got some butter. I'll show you the sauce in a minute. And I've also got some milli meal. I'm just going to turn you back again. Oh, and Kerry. Hello, Kerry. You can see, as I say, I'm having some difficulties here. No, you can't see anything. This is the story of my stinking life with these things. Okay. So there's the potato that I got out of my baked potatoes. So here's one that I baked before. I'm just going to scoop it out. Can you see that? Sort of. And just scoop out the flesh. So the problem with gnocchi, I find, is that when you make it, if your potatoes are very wet, you need a lot of flour. And it can be all rather a sticky, icky mess. Okay, so that was why I baked them, but you could just as well boil them and just leave them to dry. You just want to get rid of that excess water. Okay, then I'm going to mash them up with my fork. You can mash them with your potato masher. I just happen to have the fork. And kind of use what you got. There we go. So it's mashed up. Could be better mashed, but I'm still going to work it a bit, so I'm not so worried. This is the kind of thing that you would need to wash your hands before you start. I did wash my hands already, but you're going to get your hands in there. So make sure you wash well in this day and age. We all know about hand washing. Right. So the recipe that I Googled when I put the little thing up said, hi Charlene, said 1.5 cups of flour. I'm actually just going to hold off on that. This is 1.5 cups that I've measured out. But I think it depends on the size of your potatoes, the size of your egg. What you want to do is make a nice soft paste. So I'm going to bang my egg in there. Okay, my 1 egg. I'm making a little pile of the extra things there. Okay, smash that up a bit, and then I'm going to put about half of this flour in, just to see first what kind of paste it's making. Okay, and you can mash up those little potato bits in there while you add it. Okay, you can see it's probably quite dry. What am I saying? It's too dry. So that's probably enough flour. As I say, I felt that 1.5 cups was quite excessive. Again, maybe if you boil the potatoes and there was a little water in them, then that would be a better quantity. What we're aiming to have, as I say, is a nice soft dough that we can roll out and cut into our little gnocchi shapes. There we go. Okay. So once you get to this stage, we're going to get to the sticky, icky stage. I think I'm just going to try and move this so that you can see better. Can you see? I wish I could make it stay there. Oh la la. So many things. No. Okay. Maybe if I just put it like that, you'll be able to see. There's almost light behind me. There we go. Okay. Right. So just move these guys out of the way. Just put a little bit of this extra flour down on the surface before you start, and then you can tip it all out onto the surface. Right, can everyone see that? Can anyone let me know if they can see that? I see so many familiar faces on there. It's so lovely to see everyone. I feel like we're all a bit desperate for some kind of human connection. We'll do it online. Okay, so you're going to start mashing it up together. And if it's very dry and very tight, you could add more egg, but obviously be careful of adding a whole nother egg. You're going to end up making tons. Or you could add just a drop of water just to get it to come together. Okay. This is actually quite a nice consistency. It's just a little tiny bit sticky, so I'm just going to add a touch more flour. Here we go. Okay. So, I have been noticing all the fabulous things that everyone's baking while they're on lockdown, and it is not lost on me, because now at least 2 people that I know personally are trying out croissants, which just makes me extremely happy. I don't think we would have had time for that kind of thing back in the day, but now we're all living like pilgrims or something, and now we make our own croissants. It's awesome. Okay, so there we go. You can see it's coming together into quite a nice little dough. I could work it a bit more. It's looking a little bit lumpy. That might actually be potato lumps in there, to be honest. But I'm not too bothered, as long as I can roll it out into a nice long tube. Okay, I'm just going to work with half of it for now. Okay, you're going to roll it into a nice straight tube. Okay, this is very tactile. I think we talked about this the other day. If you've got small children and you want them to do stuff with their hands and sticky, and this is the kind of thing that is great for that. Okay. Once you've got a nice even tube, can you all see that? I'm going to just cut it into smaller slices. I'm actually just going to rinse my hands off so that I'm not too sticky and tactile. I don't know. So we've adjusted our garage to make it into some kind of kids' playroom. So if you can hear the squealing, that's why everyone's very excited about this playroom. Right. Okay. Just divide it into little portions. Obviously, if you've got a nice even roll, if you cut them all the same length, they should all be the same weight. Okay. So you're going to take one of these little guys. Let me just get a clean fork now. I'll use my fork. And to be honest, you could just leave them like that. I don't think you need anything necessarily more than that. Or you can press it down onto the fork, see, to give it that kind of indented look. Or you could just squash it flat with your finger like that. It's totally up to you how you want to do them. I don't think there's a right and wrong. So I would normally use semolina for this, which is like a coarse ground wheat. But my semolina had a chocha in it. So I'm just using a little bit of mealie meal. And I'm just going to put it on my tray here. This is just to stop it from sticking to each other and sticking to the surface. And I think because the grains are coarse, it doesn't matter. It lets more air get in, so it's less sticky. You could just use some flour. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and shape these little guys. Okay. And once you've made them, they keep very well in the fridge for a few days, couple of days, or in the freezer. Just need to make sure that they are separate. So you need them all to keep separate from each other when you freeze them. Otherwise you end up with a whole bunch stuck together in a big, oopsie, this guy was the one I squashed flat with my finger. Kind of big sticky mess. Okay. Because I'm talking and trying to watch the screen and worrying about my children all at the same time, mostly worrying that they will interrupt me, these are not terribly even, not my best work ever, but I think you got the idea. And to be honest, once they're boiled up, I don't think anyone would really notice. Right, what I have also done before you guys arrived here, he's a really fat guy, I'm going to cut him in two. Okay, obviously having them even sizes means that they cook evenly in the pot. Okay, so I have this guy, but I don't want to keep you here watching me rolling out things all day. I don't have that many interesting things to say. So I'm going to take you over. Hopefully I won't drop you to here. Let's see how this setup is working. I've got two zones here. It's like production quality, who knows what. Okay, I don't know if you can see, but in this pot is some boiling water, so I'm just going to drop them in. I would put in a healthy handful of salt into this water, because I haven't added really any salt to this. You could add salt into the dough. I wouldn't add a lot. I think most of that sort of salty flavor comes from the sauce and that sort of thing. Pop them in there. Fast boiling water. You can do them in batches. You can do them in one go, whatever, as long as they're not too many in the pot at a time. If your whole pot is heaving with dumplings, you won't get a good result. Okay. Then we're going to wait for them. Here we go. Now I've got my hands free. I can show you what we're doing. There we go. So there we go. There they are. I like to make sure that they're not stuck to the bottom, because sometimes that also happens to me. But once they float to the surface, they are basically done and ready for eating. What I'm going to do is make this little burnt butter sauce. Just see how I'm managing expectations there. It's like, well, it's going to be a burnt butter sauce. So even if I mess it up, it's great. Okay, they're just floating to the top. I'm just going to get all my things for my butter sauce. I should have taken them over there. Right. I haven't actually added any salt to this, so there's a little splash of salt. So it's a fair amount of butter. I would say, depending on how many people you're making it for and how many dumplings you have, it's probably about 2 tablespoons per person. That's just a guess. I'll actually show exactly how much. And this whole sauce is a very traditional gnocchi kind of sauce. Okay. That is just my smellogram, my sage. I just can't get enough of that smell. It smells like flavors. Again, I think it's probably just because I haven't left the house in a long time. Right, okay, here we go. These guys are floating. So you can see they floated up to the top now. So I'm going to take them out and just put them onto a plate or board or something. We don't want them to overcook, because then they will become really doughy and kind of gross. I'm just going to pop them here for now. If I was doing this, you know, not on video, I probably would have started my sauce already, and I would just scoop them straight into the sauce bowl. But I want the sauce bowl to be here. You can see in it. Oh gosh, that's my dog Rocket. He's quite new on the scene, and we just adopted him not so long ago. But he is the biggest palooka ever. He's barking at the door because he can't get in the door except this door is open. Here it comes. Nice, figured it out. Right, so there's my butter. I'll put it on quite a high heat. And when I say burnt butter, I mean nut brown butter. So it basically means that the butter starts to cook a bit and it gets this light brown, nut brown color. And you get that delicious, like, caramelized taste to it. Okay. And because it really is just a bit of butter, I might use a bit of my pasta water just to thin it out if it's looking dry. Parmesan cheese and the sage and salt and pepper. It really is one of the most delicious, simple ways to eat gnocchi. Obviously you can add any sauce you want. I just chose this because I thought it would be nice and easy and quick to do in a video. Who loves gnocchi? Amelia. Hi Amelia. I'm not sure if I know who you are, but I'm so glad you love gnocchi and I'm so glad you're all watching. Next week I am going to be doing a video on a no churn ice cream, so that should be fun. I think I am going to make honeycomb ice cream, so like the inside of a crunchy, that kind of honeycomb. I better talk fast, we're running out of battery. And on Wednesday this week, so those of you that are the hardcore cake ladies might have been aware of this. Those that are fun and really just want to bake for fun, probably not of much interest to you. But we will be doing a deep dive, don't you love that terminology, into working out your costings and your pricings. So that's Wednesday at 10, and next week, Monday at 10, we'll be doing ice cream. Okay, I'm going to turn you around again. Right, so there's my butter. You can see it's boiling quite full on. I'm going to add my sage in there because I actually want that flavor to get into the butter. You can even scoop it out at the end if you want. You don't have to leave it there if you find it a bit unpalatable. What's that guy? What's going on with that guy? I reject you. Okay. And we're just going to wait for it to turn to this nut brown color. Okay. And by which I mean burnt, really. I can't really describe it any other way. So if you were making, I'm just going to keep you on that so you can see what's going on. If you're making something like ghee, which is where you remove the butter solids out of the whole butter, it wouldn't do this nut brown thing. There you can see it's starting to turn. Can you see that? Okay, and the smell, I can't actually describe it right now, is amazing. Amazing. Okay, so I'm going to put my gnocchis in there, and there was, oopsie. Yeah, I need one of these stands, really. Just toss them about in that butter. Okay, and that's really about it. You can, it seems like a lot of butter. I had measured that out for the full amount of gnocchi, so I'm just going to use my slotted spoon so that I don't take all that butter with me. I think it would be a little bit greasy. And what you actually want to do now is for these to brown a little bit and crisp up a little bit. For me, that is the best, but I think that's probably a matter of personal choice. You can do that if you want to. I'm going to let them just cook in there while I find a plate to serve them on. Right, let me put you down again. So the very first thing I'm buying once lockdown is lifted on certain items is a stand to hold the phone. Things that you didn't know you needed until you needed them. Right, okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, so scoop it out. I'll take it because it's a bit small for this. I should have chosen a bowl. Okay. And I've left some of that butter behind. You can obviously have as much or as little as you want. And then I'm going to finish that all off with some delicious Parmesan flakes, but it could be Parmesan, whatever, what do you call those things? Grated Parmesan or shavings or whatever. And the last but not least, since we're being chefy, where did I put that thing? I don't know. Whenever I plate up I love you cook meals, if anyone's ever had those. And they always say things like, plate it up and enjoy it, chef. So there we go. Whoopsie. Plate it up and enjoy. Okay, let's have a look at what we've made. Doesn't that look, oh, absolutely delicious. And it smells delicious, let me tell you. I'm going to eat it in secret before I let my children know out of their cage. Don't tell anyone. Anyway, those of you that want to do costings with me on Wednesday, 10 o'clock, and the rest of you, I will put this gnocchi recipe onto my website the minute I get to it, which will be in the next day or two. And let me know how your gnocchis go. I can't wait to see them. Bye!